Number one, right? The odd choice of CS2 is very tough for a beginner. And the reason for that is because when you place like three sliders, right, you are basically occupying the entire playfield already. So number one, by choosing CS's circle size values that are too big or too small, you do run out of the usual placement ability that most people have. So that's why most maps do not use such CSs like very tiny circles or very huge circles, because you need to know how to properly structure your map before doing that. You did run out of like playfield space quite often to develop the patterns. I feel like because of that choice. So that's number one. It's mostly related to the structure. Number two, the intro part, you should have focused in less dense rhythms compared to the chorus, but you didn't. And that is very clear with those reverses here. You're going for the piano, right? But because the piano is super dense, and you thought, okay, let me simplify with a bunch of reverse sliders, when you clearly could just go for another melody, right? There's like a strong piano sound here. You could literally just simplify that sound with like a held slider instead, like you did before for the intro part. So there are some weird rhythm choices, and it's mostly because you didn't really consider that the first part of the map, like this first 50% or so, should be less dense compared to this second part, especially because this is a hard diff. Yeah, like Vahan said, like leaving it unmapped is also fine. Yes, that is true. Because you want to save the density in lower diffs for the strong parts of the map of the song, and leave like the other sections not so densely mapped in terms of rhythm density, right? I'm mostly talking about like how there's a lot of objects in this part, and there should be fewer objects on this part. That would be like my main critique on this map. Now the good thing is, compared to the last map I saw from you, this definitely feels better. There's a lot more clarity in the rhythms you're picking. You just need to learn how to create that rhythm, like how to do, like to fine tune those choices of sliders and circles. But yeah, I think that would be my feedback for you, Gonze. This Nick though, oh boy. Basic understanding of rhythm seems good. Yeah, I did teach him a couple of things regarding rhythm, and he did pick it up. I'm very glad he did. What are your thoughts on the slider variation in the KI section? Bro, your map needs a lot more things happening before you start being concerned with that. It's like, I mean, if you really want my feedback, right, it would be learn a structure that works first, try to execute that, and then you start thinking about doing other stuff. Because the map has actually no overall structure on it. You probably heard this feedback before. Basically, you can think of structure as like the recipe of the map, where you go to the map to the song. Like there's nothing here, right? Imagine you just put the MP3 background, etc. The structure is all the decisions you're making preemptively before putting any objects. So angles, the overall visuals, the overall rhythm you're putting down. It's like it's all the ingredients to the map that are supposed to happen from moment zero to the last moment of the map. Instead of just doing things randomly as you go. Like for most beginners, that's like the best approach to mapping, because you're trying to make sure your map feels like a cohesive piece of work. Does that make sense to you? So basically, the ideas for the map, yeah, not just the ideas, because you can have ideas and have no structure. It's more like how to say this? Like for example, whenever I teach new mappers, I pick a mapper called Kazuya, like his old maps, and I give them instructions on rhythm, spacing, flow, and visuals. And I put them to write in a notepad. Okay, rhythm, do this. Spacing, do that. Flow, do this. Visuals, do that. And then you have to do those things throughout the entire map. That's like the structure of the map. For example, if I tell you like what is the structure of a normal diff, right? I need to explain to you like all the decisions that create a normal diff. So for example, for me, right, how do I structure normal diffs? Placement wise, I tell people to use like a snake structure where essentially you're just doing this throughout the entire map. You keep doing this shit over and over again instead of, because you know a lot of beginners, they tend to do this. They tend to pattern like circles that just keep going and on around the playfield. So that's rule number 1 for normal diffs. Rule number 2, you enable DS. Rule number 3, you keep gaps 1-1 and half rhythm. So all of this, I'm just giving instructions, right? You make the part of the chorus more dense than you make the non-chorus parts. That's another instruction. And visually, you don't overlap patterns. Dot. So all of these are a subset of instructions that are like the recipe of the map. Now it's all up to you to execute that map, right? So beginners, because they never map before, they just do things as they see or from memory from what they see in other maps, but they're not able to in a cohesive manner execute those ideas.